the show, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Not a
I'm
problem. Listen,
excited.
so we're gonna jump right into it because we're really starting out this new series called supporting Black women-owned businesses, and I wanted you to be like one of the first ones on it just because I've really seen your grind and your hustle and just everything that you've been doing so far. And I just wanted to bring you on the platform to talk about all the stuff that you have going on, and even also to just be a source of inspiration to somebody that might be watching right now. So if you could just tell us, like, for people who do not know, like, what I just told them a little bit before you came on the show, but I want you to talk about what it is that you do. Because I know that you're an artist, you're also a businesswoman, but I want you to say it in your own words, like, for those who may not know.
But that's it. You said
right.
it. I am an artist. I'm a songwriter.
Yeah.
I do have my own apparel line that I did recently launch. My background is in public relations, but now I'm incorporating that on myself and seeing how it works. So, I do have a line of inspirational quotes as well. A lot of people do not know that it's me behind that brand, but just finding ways to heal and help people in any way I can, give them a little bit of encouragement. So,
that's
what I do it for.
At what point did you decide that you were going to go into music full time?
Honestly, during the quarantine. I've been doing music for a long time, but quarantine really was like, girl, you got to do you.
Right.
You can't be in the background no more. You got to do you. You got to be in the front. I don't know what you've been doing, but we've been prepping you for it. Now it's time to do it. So, during quarantine, I would say within the first month or so, I had already started writing a few years ago.
Okay.
But I had never really put it to a beat. I never really been like, all right, what do I want to do with this?
Yeah.
But I did a lot of meditating and a lot of writing and manifesting, and that was the message I got. So I've just been obedient.
Now let me ask you this: were you singing prior to you going full time into music? Because were you singing at all? Like maybe backgrounds either?
Oh yes. So I started singing when I was maybe 5 or 6.
Okay,
but I sang in choirs and stuff. Okay. So I was always in the group setting, and then I also sang for Howard Gospel Choir.
Right.
But I've been singing for a while. This is not me.
I was about to say we didn't just start quarantining because that sounds like you've been at this thing for a minute.
Yeah. Yes, I have, and I've been working with a lot of artists in my earlier years as well. So that kind of helped with the information and the knowledge I have now to kind of apply to me.
So have you ever performed, like, because you started quarantine, have you ever performed like by yourself solo since going full time? Or because I know you have a show coming up, is this gonna be like your first show? Like,
yes, it's my first official show as Nae Danielle.
Okay.
I did perform a few times by myself, but they were more so like talent shows, like little fun things. I do karaoke, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I guess the biggest thing I did was the talent show for MGM. I did that. But other than that,
how long ago was that?
That was that was 2019. So that's not.
How'd that feel? What was that like? How many people were at the thing?
It was over 100 people in the crowd.
Yeesh.
It was fun. It was fun. But see, I'm a performer. I used to dance. Give you a little bit of my background. I used to dance. I danced for 15 years. Okay. So the biggest crowd I danced in front of was at the Orange Bowl in Florida.
Wow.
So that's the entire stadium.
Yeah.
People. So being in front of a crowd for me is easy.
So you didn't have that you weren't nervous at all. You just went right on stage.
I'm not gonna say not at all. I'm always a little nervous. I feel like there's a healthy amount of nervousness that you should have before, because that means you care about what you're about to do.
Yeah.
So I do have like that little bit, but once I'm on stage and I get that interaction, or I have them give me that interaction, because sometimes you do have a quiet audience.
Yeah.
You gotta kind of pull it out of them.
Yeah, tough crowd sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, you like, come on now, y'all quiet. What's going on?
Now let me ask you this, because you have an amazing story in the sense of you talked about meditating and just hearing the word and just being obedient and going with it. And it seemed to be like, you making a lot of wave, you know what I'm saying? Has a very good following on social media, and people are tuned in, locked in. I want to ask you, because you're still kind of new in it, like as far as like going professionally, but so far with everything that you've done and that you're doing, that you're getting ready to do, what would you say, like, just gives like maybe top 3 lessons that you've learned along the way so far, for someone who may be on the fence about, going in a certain direction, being that you heard a word and you felt something, you like, listen, I'm gonna go for it. What are some of the things? Just give us top 3 lessons that you can share with somebody right now.
Top 3 lessons. I mean, the top thing I had to really learn was, I am me.
Right.
So when you live in your own light and you do what you feel is for you, there's really nothing anybody else can tell you. Because a lot of what people will give is their own fear.
Right.
And they'll be the first one to tell you can't do it. But if it came to you, I feel like it came to you for a reason. Right. So you should act. You got to act on it.
I'm going to use that. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to use that. No, that's good.
And then also, something else I learned was to be still.
Be still. Okay. Somebody said talk that talk.
Okay, thanks, Ashley. Okay. But yes, being still is major, because it's like sometimes people have these ideas and like, oh, I'm going to do this. They move. They have no goal. Yeah. They don't know how they're going to achieve it. They haven't fully processed what was given to them. Yeah. So those moments of stillness, those moments of really just becoming one with self helped a lot for me. And I got a lot of my answers that way. I felt when I was moving too fast, I was just doing stuff and it didn't make sense. So you got to make it make sense, you know?
Be you, be still. Okay.
And then the third thing I learned is that the people closest to you aren't always going to be your biggest fan.
Wow. So say that one more time. Let me write that down. I'm going to write that down. Let me write that down.
Yes. The people closest to you aren't always going to be your biggest fan. And I think a lot of it comes with them just seeing you in the light they've seen you in. So when you start to really understand who you are as a person and you implement that into what you're doing, they may still see you in that one light. So they're like, what are you doing? You know, that's too much. Or I don't know if that really, if you know so-and-so, they put those things in your ear. So you kind of have to be able to tune that out and understand that majority of your support are going to come from people who do not know you. And it's not to say that people who know you aren't going to support you, but subconsciously they be putting little spells on you, saying little things, you know, based off their fears. And they don't understand the power and what they're saying. And how it can affect you.
They're like, that's little Danielle. What are you talking about? Like, what are you?
And I'm like, no, I'm grown. Ain't they grown, baby? I'm not a child.
But let me ask you, one of the things, I'm a creative myself, and I know that it's challenging sometimes, just whether it's music, filmmaking, whatever it is you're trying to do. I want you to talk to us about a time that even so far that you felt discouraged, and how did you pull yourself out of that place?
Oh, I felt discouraged last night. So
it's like an everyday struggle, right?
Kind of. Right. Honestly, because for me, it's healing. Right. So when I do feel discouraged, a lot of times it's because of certain things that I may not have addressed with myself.
Yeah. Thanks, Ash. By the way, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. That I may not have addressed with myself. Right. And so once I can kind of identify that, it's easier for me to sit back. Yeah. Remember why I'm doing it in the first place. That's always important. And I always encourage people to write stuff down. So if you have to write down why you're doing something so that you have that constant reminder, do that. Right. Write down why you're doing it. So when you're feeling discouraged, when you're feeling defeated, when it seems like your back is against the wall, maybe you're not really living in your purpose or what you're supposed to be doing, go back to why you're doing it in the first place. And a lot of times that is what really pushes me through. I actually have my vision board above my bed.
That's amazing.
So I wake up, I look up, and I'm like, yeah, you got to keep checking off the list.
You got to keep checking. I like that. Now, a friend of mine was recently, he went on the gram and he was really just ranting, talking about people not knowing what it takes to be a creative. Every time you put stuff out, people just turn to it and it's like, it hurts and all of those things. And on one hand, I kind of felt where he was coming from. But on the other hand, I'm like, yo, part of being a creative is having tough skin, because when you sign up for this, you have to be ready for that kind of energy coming your way. I want to ask you, being in the music business, how do you deal with your critics? How do you deal with criticisms when they come? How do you manage that person? Because everybody's not going to be nice to you.
Yeah. Oh, wait, shout out to Media Princess in the comments. Hey, Ebony. So let's see. For me, it really goes back to why you're doing it. So you'll have critiques.
Okay.
I think I'm very spiritual. So
okay.
I can really identify when people are talking to me, what is valid and what is them projecting.
Okay.
And you can pay little things. It's little details you'll hear in the conversation, based off what they're bringing up, kind of where it may be rooted from.
Right.
And if it doesn't apply, if it doesn't resonate, then let that go. If you feel a little way about what they're saying, it's probably because you felt that way as well. You just didn't like hearing it.
Wow. Okay.
So it's being able to kind of sit back with it, think about, what they said, and the things that apply them. The things that don't, keep it moving, because everybody isn't going to like what you're doing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I think there's a fine line between constructive criticism and somebody projecting. So
being able to separate the two. Okay.
Exactly. And being able to separate the two comes with you knowing yourself as a person, you doing the work to heal as a person, you understanding who you are. Right. And people will say stuff, and when it stings, like I said, you're like, whoa, okay, why did that sting? That's the first question. So why did that sting? Why did that bother you? Yeah. Then you need to figure out from there, what is it with yourself that you haven't addressed? Yeah. Yeah. And then once you acknowledge that, then you'll be able to separate. You don't even have to separate at that point. It's separate on what separate, you need to move forward with, and what you gotta go ahead and throw to the trash.
Listen,
it's not for you.
I'm gonna let you know I'm taking a lot of notes, because I'm gonna use a lot of this stuff that you're saying, because that's what I'm saying. I got my little notepad. I'm taking notes.
I love it. I was telling my manager I need to write a book or something.
Right. And I always got my notepad, man, because I'm always like observe taking stuff in from people, and that's just how I move, man. But you got this new single coming up next month, man. Talk to us about this new single, man. I've been keeping up, but what's up with this single though?
I'm weak. So it's actually an EP. It's 5 tracks.
It's an EP, right?
The EP is 5 tracks.
My bad. I'm talking about a single. It's an EP. It's a whole project. My bad. My excuse me.
Yes, this is my first project. I'm super excited. I don't know if I want to share the name of it yet.
No. Just what I'm saying.
But it's for sure it's a project that is designed to shift the mindset. I do consider myself, even though I am an artist, I'm a healer. Okay. I have been given that duty from my ancestors through my own, studying and just understanding me. Right. And so that's what I give. Like, it's very much so mindset. Mindset is key. Mindset is key. Yeah. So just really speaking to that, but in a fun way, to where people are able to groove, get the overall message, but it's very high vibrational. I'm super excited. My sister helped with some of the writing. My best friend Ashley helped with some of the writing.
Ash. All right.
Yeah.
Ash,
she's in there. She and Mrs. Set is in there. Definitely click and follow her.
Bring Ash on the show too. You know what I'm saying? Ash, you might be on the show next week. I don't know.
Hey, okay, she is teaching women how to love on their bodies and love on themselves. She is a sensual yoga instructor, so definitely tune into what she has. She's amazing. But a lot of it just kind of, not even a lot, it just came. Like I found out showers are amazing for me. That's where I get a lot of my inspiration, is when I'm in the shower. Okay. Don't judge me. My phone sits right next to the shower. I'll be popping out.
Hey, whatever your process is, that's your process. You dig what I'm saying?
For sure. But no, I'm super excited for everybody to hear it. I have some songs on there that are definitely cute little bangers. But yeah, it's gonna be a vibe.
Now, genre-wise, is it just R&B? Like, what should we expect? Like, as far as that goes, like, is it a little bit of everything?
I guess you can put it in the R&B. You can put it in R&B, but it's not like I'll say one of the tracks gives a little Jilly type feel, Jilly from Philly type
Jilly
feel.
from Philly. Okay, I got it. We always love that. All right.
Okay, but the other ones it's a little bit of a mixture. It gives a little hip hop, just a little bit, mixed with some R&B for sure.
That's good. Now talk to us about you. You got a new apparel line that you've been pushing. And I saw when you put up a few posts about it. I want you to talk to us about what that is, because it's not just a line, but you also have a purpose behind it, what you're trying to accomplish with that. If you can share that with the people right quick.
So yeah, I started with just the classics, the Nae Danielles, for those who wanted to support. I had a lot of people reaching out, asking how they could help me, how they can pour into what I was doing.
Right.
And clothing is something I've always been involved with. So I was like, why not go ahead and do an apparel line? Yeah. But eventually, I mean, these pieces, I think it's very important what you wear. Like I actually have on a shirt right now from Culturally Focused, who will be at my event, and it's Protect Your Energy. Okay. But I think it's very important to wear things that speak to who you are, even when it comes to jewelry. Right. So the line, you'll see the classics, but you're going to see specific, what are they called? Why is the word not coming to me?
You mean like specific themes?
I'm just going to say lines.
Okay.
That are going to speak. There's going to be some inspirational shirts that come out to kind of give people some affirmations they can wear around on the daily basis. Of course, I'll have some fun with the EP, so I'll have some stuff. One of my songs is called "What's Your Sign," so playing with that a little bit for theme for those who really enjoyed that. But I just want people to feel good when they wear my stuff. I want them to look, it really makes sense. You gotta feel good. But then just, promotion. People that want to support me.
We got some stuff out. We're expecting some stuff out, coming out when? When should we expect the rest of the stuff? Like, give us like a little timeline.
It's gonna be when the EP drop.
Okay, cool.
There's gonna be a few little drops around there.
All right. So we keep that in mind. Now you touched on something I thought was interesting. You talked about what's your sign. Let me ask you this. Do you really believe in that when it comes to like helping you decide, for instance, in relationship is where I'm really seeing a lot of that conversation as far as what your sign is, you know what I'm saying? People will tell you right at the gate, you know what I'm saying, you're Aries, I can't really mess with you. Do you really believe that, or do you?
Woo, okay. So most people are really making decisions off like the main bases of Zodiac. Zodiac can be a little deeper than that. So people have birth charts. So although I may be an Aries, right? Like my Venus could be in Leo, my Pluto could be in Cancer. So understanding what the planets represent and what part of who you are, your personality, it aids to, is really where it helps. So I can't sit here really and say, oh, you're a Leo, I don't like Leo, so I'm not going to talk to you. Because you may have other elements in your birth chart that actually give you a different perspective or a different way of looking at things than most Leos. So
do y'all hear that? I just want to ask.
It's way deeper than people get, but see, all they're doing is blocking their blessings there. Right. Because if you're meeting somebody, you're meeting them for a reason, whether you agree with that sign or not. And it's probably something that you never dealt with back in the day with that Leo, to where now you're trying to cut out all the Leos and you're cutting out your husband or your future wife who's sitting right in front of you.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying.
I like that. And now you're a proud bison, just like myself. Class of 2017. You know what I'm saying? I'm class of 2015. Now I want to ask you about, because every time I have a fellow bison on the show, we really need to talk about this and really push it, because I think it's important, because people are trying to act like it's not important, but it is. I want you to speak to how your HBCU experience prepared you for the world that you're in right now.
Well, I mean, because you went there, but...
For those that don't know, you know what I mean?
You're right. I gotta, so my experience was a little different because I did transfer into Howard. So I started at PWI, so I can really tell you. So I went there and I was like, oh, cool. I'm in college. Where's the Black people? Where's the There's no sororities. There's no fraternity.
Right.
Okay. And I went to VSU once, and I was like, oh, this is the experience I need.
Right.
So I ended up choosing Howard. I went to Howard, and just overall, you know, people like to talk about the bad things at Howard, but I don't think people realize how those things are what really prepare you for those next steps.
Okay.
And it's the littlest things, like how you present yourself.
Right.
You know, they had us doing our Howard introductions, and we're like, why do we have to stand up and do this introduction? But now when I walk in a room, because I do work in the corporate world as well.
Right.
When I walk in the room, I know how to talk. I know how to introduce myself. I know how to stand in who I am, and I know how to finesse.
Yeah, finesse is a
That
game. Network is everything. Right.
Helps a little bit. But networking, most rooms I walk in, there's at least one Howard person there.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to be able to connect in that way. And then just the overall experience for me, I feel like made me who I am today. It really gave me the knowledge. It really allowed me to have tougher skin, to be able to combat a lot of stuff that people aren't used to, because it was easy for them. And I'm like, no, we actually had to work for what we got to where we're so freaking proud about it. So
I want to ask, not a coach, I want to ask, because you have a unique experience because you went from a PWI to HBCU. Recently, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we really were going back and forth. And her whole point was really there's no difference between a PWI and an HBCU. And I didn't understand what she was trying to say. Now, that's on one hand. And then on the other hand, you have people to try to make you feel as if your HBCU degree is not on the same par level as a PWI. You've been to both ends, and I want you to talk to like what you saw. You know what I mean?
So for PWI, you have to go out your way to get some of the education that is actually in the curriculum at a HBCU. So like, I still got Black history information. Yes, I still understood about that, but actually loving my skin, understand being around so many people that are like me, who may have had different experiences, so being able to speak to that, you don't experience that at PWI. Like there's a smaller community. Everybody knew each other in that small community, and we were all kind of trying to hold each other accountable for being true to the culture. Where at an HBCU, that's not necessarily the case. Like you're actually around people who get it. And it's not saying it's all Black people at HBCUs. We know this. There's, you know, all different types, but the experience is just different. And then even the teachers, like how they teach, what they're talking about, the perspective they come from can be privileged depending on who your instructor is. And it's just like at Howard, that was one thing a lot of my instructors kind of set me down in the real world. Like, hey, I know you're used to this, but walking out there, it's not going to be all us. So this is what you need to prepare for. And those aren't necessarily the conversations that you get at a PWI.
That's amazing. Now, you seem like an independent woman. Would you say that you're an independent woman?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I'm glad you said that, because I have this thing I've been talking to people about. You know, I just want to get an independent woman's perspective on that. What do you think is the biggest misconception when it comes to an independent woman? Because some of my guy friends, when they're like, Lysious, I don't know about them independent women. What do you think? And personally, I don't have a problem with an independent woman. But I think there's a misconception when you call yourself an independent woman. And being an independent woman yourself, what do you think is the misconception on why some guys don't like it?
Oh, this is a loaded question.
Right. I know it is.
It's loaded. I feel like, because I can really speak from the woman, and I can speak from the man, because it depends on the type of independent woman you're talking about.
So
there's some women.
Okay, wait, there are types. Wait a minute now.
Yes.
Now we're breaking things down. Wait a minute. Let me take notes. Go ahead.
I'm weak. So there are independent women who feel like they don't need a man. You know, I do this by myself.
Right.
A lot of them are a little broken. No. For lack of a better term, or they need to heal a little bit more. And it's just like, no cut cards. So when it comes to like being understanding, when it comes to, not saying you necessarily have to stroke a man's ego, but understanding, I don't even want to say your place. I'd rather say your role.
Roles,
is it's a little more difficult because it's just like, oh, well, if you're not going to do it, I can do it myself. Like those type of women, I can understand why men run. No shit. But then you have the independent woman who, like myself, I take care of my bills. I take care of everything myself. However, I don't feel like I have to degrade a man in an effort to validate myself as an independent woman. I still respect their role, and I'm not going to look to you for some of the things other people may look for. Like, I don't need you to pay my bills. I don't need you to buy me a Chanel bag or to, you know, pay for my hair and nails. If you do it, great. I appreciate it, but I don't necessarily need it. But I'm not going to make you feel a way, you know, about doing it. And so for that, there are men who are used to the first one I described and not necessarily the second one. So they see independent and they run and they're like, I don't want to do it. But I think for those men, it's important for them to kind of vet through the woman that they're talking to. And if they're attracting that type of woman, again, they need to look at themselves and figure out what about that woman attracted you?
Wow.
What are you really looking for? And are you looking for what you're saying you're looking for?
You know what? You're the first one that actually talked about the whole brokenness and how that ties into those independent women that say things like that. You know what I mean? Because I never really thought about it in that sense. Like, but that's amazing though, because one thing that you said in one of your songs, you were saying how, you know, basically talking about how you're taking everything back, taking your life back and taking your place. And you mentioned how hurt people hurt people. You know what I mean? And a lot of times what we say is a reflection of where we're coming from, what we've dealt with. I never really thought about it that way, but that's a no, that's a good perspective, but it's good to know that. But I want to thank you for saying that, guys. So, guys, before you come right at the gate and say that you don't want independent women, you have a problem with that, you can understand there are types of independent women. There are types, okay? Know the difference, all right? The song is thank you. Look at Ashley
on it.
Ashley, let me tell you something.
Gang.
I might have to bring Ashley in as my producer. Look at Ashley said the song is good. Bye. Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate you.
It definitely is.
Appreciate you.
It definitely is. And I even to kind of piggyback off of that real quick before we get to the next one, I do also in nonsense kind of take a moment where I say you got to sit down, be still, and properly heal, not just from you, but all the things I held on to. Because sometimes when we're holding on to things and we get into arguments and we're, you know, addressing things, we're literally coming from that hurt. We're not coming from what's actually happening in that moment. And that's why when you have people and they're like, whoa, like, why did it get to that extent? It's because I'm hurting. Like, not saying me, but that person, they're hurting. Like, and that's what they're projecting onto you. So the situation may seem simpler than how the person reacted to it. So.
You're an artist now. I had a heated conversation with a friend of mine, and it was really talking about the use of the B word and other things in music. And I was saying how, you know what, somehow, I don't know if it's just me, but I don't know if you can be conscious in your song at the same time attract a whole lot of following and a whole lot of people. I feel like a lot of times if you're really conscious and woke in your song, I don't know if you can do that. And being that you're somebody who your music is healing, your music is conscious, is in that. What do you think that people don't want consciousness, or are they looking for a balance? Or because I feel like at the same time we complain about this thing, but we're the same ones that support things like that. So I want you to speak to that. Is it that we don't want too much consciousness, or what is it really what you've seen in your experience when it comes to being conscious, and sometimes just people saying, you know, we just want to have fun. We don't want to hear that deep stuff. How do you feel about that?
I feel like it's a balance, but I feel like it depends on who you are as an artist and what your actual goal is. Okay. If you're writing for the masses, then you are going to use the B word. You are going to talk about strippers or whatever the case may be, because that's what's in, that's what's selling, that's what's popping. Right. But if you're doing your craft for you, and some of those words may can't come up, cool, but the overall message, the vibration behind it is going to be different, and those who are spiritually woke are going to be able to receive that. So I feel like I feel like there can be a balance. I mean, people who are saying they don't want to hear nothing too serious or
Yeah.
whatever the case. I mean, maybe that song just isn't for them. Maybe that artist just isn't for them. And I think that everybody expects everything to work for everybody, and it's not going to. You know what I mean? Not everybody that listens to the baby listens to Erykah Badu. I mean, they're two different audience. So I think understanding who your audience is and making your music for yourself
and I want to
just
say
embracing
too,
your audience makes
not
a
to cut you off, but I want to say too, like they're both equally very successful in what they do, right?
Yes, because they stay in their own lane. Like the baby, I mean, people don't like him, but he comes out cocky. That's what he's going to give you every time. You know what he's going to give you. You know who he is, and he's very true in that, which I respect. And that's why I use those two. And then even Erykah. I mean, Erykah comes in with red liner that goes back here with 3 dots down there, and you know who it's for. It's for. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that the importance is just as an artist that you're being true to yourself and not trying to just appeal to a specific person or a specific audience or whatever, because then you're chasing your audience instead of bringing your fans to you.
Yeah, 2 more questions before I let you go, because you seem like you're a therapist, a counselor of some sort. You know what I mean?
I'm a healer. I told you.
Yeah, healer. You know what I'm saying? My friend, we're gonna call her Michelle. You know,
okay.
Michelle says to me, you know, Lysious, I feel like I'm under some kind of pressure because I'm 28, 29, and I at this point in my life, I just want to focus on, like, you know, my career goals and just, you know, go into real estate, and that's really what I want to do. But a lot of my friends are like, oh, Michelle, you're 28, you're 29. When are you going to find a man? When are you going to start dating? And she's like, well, that's not my focus right now. This is what I want to do. But she says, Lysious, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I do feel that pressure. What should I do? What would you say to Michelle right now as far as that goes? She said, yes, I want to go this way, but I'm also a woman, 28, 29, and I'm hearing what these other people in my family are saying. And somehow I find myself at this crossroads of some sort. What would you say to Michelle right now?
I would tell Michelle to follow what she feels she needs to do and understand that those people around her that are giving her those messages are projecting. It's not saying that she can't be conscious because as a woman, you know, we naturally are conscious of things of that sort. I mean, I'm 28 myself, so I get it.
Right.
However, what's for us is for us, you know. Right. And if we're supposed to have a child at 45, we're going to have a child at 45. I mean, Yolanda Adams had her first child at 40, and she's perfectly fine. So I feel like for her, she needs to just sit down with herself, sit down with whoever her divine person, if she believes in God, if she believes in Jesus, if she believes in spirit, whoever that person is for her, to kind of sit down with herself and just ask those questions. The answers will come to her, and don't second guess what has come to her.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of that is noise. People are going to project. That's projection, 100%.
Last question before I let you go tonight. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Like career-wise, location-wise?
Career-wise.
Career-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'll be living fully in my status as Nae Danielle. I will be known globally. My music will heal multiple millions. And yeah, I'll just be living in a space of happiness, peace, love. Yeah. Everything I'm manifesting by then will 100% have been achieved, plus more. So that's where I see myself. Maybe married, maybe with kids.
Maybe with kids.
But
all right.
It depends.
I know I said that was the last question, but this is really the last. I want you to close it out. Whatever you're feeling right now in this moment that you want to share with people, being that you're a healer, like whatever it is that you're feeling in your spirit that you want to talk to the people about, like words of wisdom, just, you know, take us out with that.
I want people to know that they are powerful. I want people to know that everything that they want and desire in life, they can have. I want them to know that any insecurities or things that they are challenged with on a daily basis is temporary, and they have the mental capacity to change those things for themselves. I want them to love on them more. I want them to cherish the time that they have more, you know. And I want them to speak life into themselves. The next time you say, I'm going to try to do something, stop yourself and say, I'm going to do it, and set the date. Right. You know, next time you're like, well, I don't like this part. Because I do this with my body all the time. I don't like my back fat. Yeah, I'm going to stop saying that, because at the end of the day, my body is mine. I was created, you know, in the eyes of the divine for a reason. I'm here with the message for a reason. So just speaking life into yourself. Like, you are all beautiful. Anything you want, you can have. Anything. And the only person that's keeping you from having it is you.
Amen. Amen. Listen, guys, I don't have it. I'm not going to close it out tonight. She just closed it out. And all I'm going to say is thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for being such a light. Thank you for sharing with us. And guys, listen, we're going to put this together per usual, and we're going to post it out again. Please, you know, check it out. Follow this young lady, man. She's such a light. And that's really what we're all about, bringing people that would bring some positivity to our lives and everything we have going on. Follow her on all social media. Like, I mean, if you don't know what's going on, you should be hip by now. But we're gonna put all that on the thing, so so that you can keep up and support this amazing young lady. So that's all I'm gonna say, because she closed it out tonight, and we're gonna see you guys next week and another exciting episode of Live with Lysious with a guest that will be known to be announced. But you guys have a blessed evening, and we're going to see you again. Goodbye. Thank you once again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I had a great time.
No problem. We got you, Anthony. We're going to save it, and we're going to post it again. And, you know, just make sure that you follow us on all social media, follow her, and then you're going to see everything that we have going on. All right. Yeah, have a good one. Thank you, Ashley. I might just bring you on as a producer on the show, man. You held me down, Ashley.
Hit her back, hit her up. She's lit.
All right, goodbye, guys.